What up, y'all? This is Osu coming off a week 1 of Vortex Gallery. Still insane enough to put out an introduction to a character video once I'm in the middle of like my busiest time. So let's talk about Rise. So specifically, I'm only going to talk about combo mechanics for the character. I'm not going to talk about anything Oki or pressure related because that would make this a 30-minute video, and this video is going to run longer than I want it to regardless. I'm going to try to do it in a one take, only because of the fact that I need to go do some stuff, and I'm still in the middle of Vortex Gallery for the next 3 weeks. So let's talk about Rain first, / our 2-2 series. Let's talk about 2-2A. So 2-2A, if you've seen this recently in any Rise footage as of recent on a standing confirm, you'll see 5C into 2-2A in combo. Well, let's talk about Persona being weird first. Hits. Drops. First thing to know is that most characters in combo hurtbox is different from their neutral hurtbox, so 2-2A combos, when say are standing and it's at the beginning of a combo, is usually character specific. The list of those characters will be in the description. Thank you, Jolteo's GitHub / Jolteo himself, MihkailLuca, Tectal Eastside, Jturnes, Dai-chan, and then there's one other Rise that I can't really think of as another, like, puts a lot of work into the character, both current and old. But thank you every single Rise player, because that's why you're going to get that information, because that's a confirm that I don't normally use, period, and they use it often. So, also as a disclaimer, you will not see a lot of those routes from me just because of the fact that I'll put 3 or 4 in, but the rest of them are going to be universal routes, or routes that I utilize because of the fact that they do certain things, and those will be the routes that I'm going to focus on. So, 2-2B on the other hand, I use this for 2 cases. So 2-2B I use as a damage extender for a lot of combos in the corner, once you can just add it. I also use it in scan routes, and I'll get into scan routes in a second and explain why I use it for scan routes. But let's see if I can do this right now. .8. That route, probably without the 2-2B, if I had to guess, would do like 3.6. 3.679. So essentially you're creating a whole 130 damage or so. That's why I use 2-2B in combos, especially since, you know, 2-2B makes it so the end rain is all the way over there. So the second part whips, so you're not worrying about needing to sit there and correct it in combo like you do in 2-2A. So let's get into scan. Why I use 2-2B for scan routes. So let's look at 2-2A first. 9 hits, well, as you keep in mind, that hit, I didn't mean that for that to hit. That's essentially double the animation of its normal hit, which also means that you have to consider that many more hits in the combo. While 2-2B on the other hand, starts out long, scanned, tends to do less just because a lot of the hits whiff. So to keep that consistency of the fewer hits hitting in combo for like ease of what you want to manage, I use 2-2B on scanned routes. You can still use 2-2A, but like then you have to do a lot more to manage the hit count. And a lot of cases with this game, for proration's sake, less is more. So going from that, let's talk about J2B. J2B, I'm going to keep it simple. Essentially, you want to keep in mind spacing because you always need both hits to hit. You cannot get that. If that second hit misses, which I'm surprised I was able to do that first try, then you can't special cancel it. You can't sit there. You're getting a negative knockdown to my knowledge as well. So you always want to make sure that your spacing is correct for the second hit to hit, and let's see if I can get to hit. This is my life. Because you want that special cancel, because this is like your all-purpose tool. That's the easiest way to put it. J2B does essentially everything Rise needs. So you not hitting this correctly will mess you up on plenty of routing, just because. So you always want to sit there and be like, hey, let me get this so the second hit hits. A lot of the cases when you see it, you're not going to really use JB into it. Most cases is going to be in combos where you're just going to do that. You're just going to IAD into it. Only on air-to-airs is where you're going to sit there and worry about it, and that's where once I show those routes, you'll sit there and worry about how that's going to work. But it's spacing based, so if you can get the spacing correct, you'll get the cancel. Going from J2B, we're going to talk about one lesser common disc, and then the more common discs. We're going to talk about Hop D disc, and then SB disc, and I can't do inputs. So, specifically Hop D disc, for 1.1 players and like early arcade era Rise, you used to see this specifically to get a knockdown mid-screen, and that's going to be the only case you're going to see Hop D disc for me. Keep in mind you have to hit this low on a highly prorated combo, so that way you can actually get 5 AA to work. It is the same case like this. If 236B hits too high, you are not going to be able to do 5 AA knockdown. It just doesn't hit high compared to the stupid animation for this, I'm sorry. For SB disc though, where I can make Minazuki stop jumping, this is going to be your super common I need to extend a combo mid-screen tool that you use for adding damage, because essentially your normal damage mid-screen ain't shit. Like 1.2. That's a version worse than Minazuki. 1.3, like nothing, right? Even like if you're doing this, that's still nothing. 1.5. Ooh. Well, once you sit there and add that, you're gonna get a lot. You're just innately about to sit there and get way more out of the combo. But keep in mind, SB disc is kind of like a spacing thing. There are times where this will just like drop. And it's not me missing timing on 214A, but like, I have to think this is the case? Yeah. Spacing's not high enough to create the distance for disc to hit properly here. Well, it's like I backed up and then it worked. So that's one thing that you have to keep in mind about SB disc. Like, this is like really weird to get used to. But after you get used to it, fine and dandy. Going from SB disc, we are going to talk about 5C. This is your second all-purpose tool. Biggest thing you have to keep in mind is a physical hit, then is a projectile hit, and for 214B routes, you need it. So that projectile hit is actually the only reason why 214B can actually combo. On top of the fact that you need to slightly delay the 214B to the projectile hit, so that way you can get proper distance to sit there and do a lot of links. Early, whatever. But yeah, like if you have a spacing that's like back here, projectile is going to get blocked. Crouch confirm, you're not too worried about it just because, you know, crouch more time. But like having the spacing, very important. and knowing the slightly delay your 2 and 4B. So that's why I got to talk about 5C, on top of the fact that let's talk about something that's not really showcased enough. Momentum-based confirms. This, I will shout out Tectal specifically just because of the fact that Tectal's the only person I knew who did it in 1.1 era. I've seen a little bit, and I mean a little bit of it in this era of Risei, but not too much. And I want to promote trying to get used to doing those so that way you can up your damage. So if you have like momentum while you're going to hit somebody, like you're doing dash in 2B as a punish, dash in 5A, dash in 2A as a punish, you'll get the spacing for that to actually work. And now, these shitty combos turn into that's 2.7. So that's a whole 1.5k. Actually, that was essentially 2.8. So it's a whole 1.6k more damage than you would normally get from BNB. Or at your best case of a BNB, you get 15, and that's still 1.3k over, just because of the fact that you actually abuse the momentum, so that way you can get 5C to combo properly. Getting used to those, I say personally, is something that I would say to your best advantage, try to. Regardless of how you're trying to punish, or if you just randomly get to confirm, if you can sit there and notice when you can do that, you're going to up your damage to this character a lot mid-screen, so that way you're a fear at any point on the screen. On top of getting used to crouch confirms, where you already have more time, just because of, you know, crouch confirm. But just getting used to these, I'm probably not going to be able to do this route, so let me assume I'm going to drop it. Yep. But just being able to do this will get you so much mileage in match, so I wanted to promote that real quick. So there's not too much else I can say about this character when it comes to this. I'm also sorry for any stutters or weird audio that you're going to hear in this. I'm doing this as a one take just because of the fact that I don't have time to sit there and dedicate it. I also still treat this as an archive channel that I use for tech instead of doing anything else, so I don't edit things either. So this is kind of just me giving out tech for free. So thank y'all for watching this. Enjoy the combos that will happen soon after. I will record them after I get back from grabbing food right now and start getting those started. And if you're in Vortex Gallery, I will see you in, today's Wednesday, I'll see you in 2 days as I sit and manage an event. Thank y'all for tuning in. Later.